Social media, just like the internet, it's not going away anytime soon. So I think it is critical for every single agent. You don't have to embrace it, but it does have to be part of your lead generation and your marketing strategy. Your buyers expect it and your sellers expect it. So in today's MasterREMind session, individuals in my group and other top real estate minds across the country dive deeper into this topic as far as social media's do's and don'ts to help your business. If you want a further business strategy session, feel free to reach out. I'll be able to help you out from there. Thank you very much.
So first, let's do a little housekeeping. Realtors, I know you love to sit there with your phone there and you're all distracted all the time. I'm going to ask everybody, put your phone away for a little bit. Put it on mute, put it on do not disturb. You've got to work on your business. You can't always be in your business. There's plenty of time after this meeting to focus on your deals, on the things that you've got to do. I get it. I've got a lot of stuff to do today as well, but I want to be 100% focused here, learn as much as I can. So let's go ahead and start today with Gabe. I want to introduce Gabe to all of you. He's been a great agent here in San Diego for several years now and has really proven himself to be quite the guy to deal with. I mean, he's getting all kinds of listings. He's crushing it. He's taking market share from a lot of great agents in the South Bay and growing all over the county, building a team, building a brand, which is something that a lot of us don't do enough of. We talk about selling real estate, but we don't do enough to promote your brand and what makes you different. What's your unique selling proposition? So go ahead and let's see. Oh, looks like we lost Cameron. He'll be back in a minute. He's going to restart. So Gabe, let's go ahead and start with you. I want to dive in pretty deep on your business, what you're doing to be successful. These are agents all over the country. Some of them are brand new. Some are experienced. A lot of them are experienced, and but I think we could all learn from you and what you're doing. First off, talk about how'd you get into real estate? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, all that kind of stuff. Before Gabe.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? All right, man. Well, first, man, hey, Bobby, I got all of your audience. I got to let everyone know, man, Bobby's a stud. This guy's someone I followed in my career for the last 4 years. This guy's, when I found out about him was like 4 years ago. But this guy's speech, his dress, his hair, his business etiquette, everything about this guy's 100 out of 100. So you guys have an amazing person to follow. And Bobby, I just want to say thanks for having me on here, bro. I really do appreciate that. But I'm out here in San Diego, born and raised, got into the real estate business about 7 years ago, 2015. I moved over from the MLM industry. So I was in multi-level marketing. I ran a really big organization over there. It was really awesome. We had a huge success. I recruited personally about 70 downline members at that time. And then we grew a really huge sales organization. But the thing was, I was getting paid like 10 cents per shake I was selling. And I wasn't really a fitness guy. So selling shakes, making a little bit of money, had a lot of clout, but it wasn't worth the time. I had a buddy of mine who introduced me to the real estate game. He said, Gabe, you're doing all your little parties at night and throughout the day, you're not doing anything because all your customers and clients and downline members are at work. So why don't you come work for me, become my transaction coordinator? I will pay you $500 per file. And then you can do your little shake thing at night. So I worked for him over at Coldwell Banker. A really good guy. I'm really glad he introduced me to the opportunity. I got into the industry. I saw the checks. When I was doing all the TC files, I was seeing the checks. I was like, oh man, I'm getting 500. This guy's making this. And then he encouraged me to get my license. He said, hey man, get your license. This is gonna be one of the best decisions you ever made. So as I was working for him for 1 year, I decided to get my real estate license. But something else that was really beautiful came out of it. It was not just the money that motivated me. In 2013, while I was at TC, I was reading all of the files at that time, and I realized that a lot of these files that I was TCing for, the stories were similar. They were NODs, notice of defaults, and notice of trustees. A lot of people were losing their home, and I was asking my lead at the time, why, what was happening, and he was telling me that a lot of these families were defaulting on their loans at that time. And it resonated with me at that moment because back in 2007 and 8, my mom was in the same boat. I just didn't have any context and I didn't know what was going on. And finally the light bulb went off and I made the connection. the people that I was teaching for were currently at that time going through what I had previously went through with my family. So it was a whole different level of like, at that time, it changed from like a money motivation to like a, it's messed up. I want to step in. I want to help people out to avoid that because I felt that pain. So I did. I got my license, and then that was in 2013. But I still was dabbling in multi-level marketing, and I had my toe in part-time on real estate. And it's in my belief, you can be somewhat successful in real estate as a part-time agent, but you'll never exceed the levels you want to get to if you have a part-time business. This is a full-time business. You have to be a full-time professional. You have to be all in. You have to put time and energy in your business, on your business, and then you have to take care of yourself at the same time. There isn't a lot of time to do everything. And I quickly learned that in 2014. I think I did 3 sales. One of them was a cold call. One was an open house lead, and the other one was my mom. She was ready to buy again in 2014. So if you go back to 2014, you'll see I promoted her as a client. I didn't even say it was my mom. I just said, hey, congratulations to Mrs. Mendez. She bought a house. Congratulations to my client, but no one knew. So, but yeah, that was 2014. I did that. But I ended up sucking in real estate, 3 deals in 1 year. It's not enough to survive. And then I was losing in my multi-level marketing business because I was distracted. And so by the end of 2014, after having a really strong run in MLM for 3 years and creating this huge downline, I just decided to step aside. I stopped with real estate. I got back into just a regular job force, blue collar work. I got a job in 2015 for 5 months. Quickly realized I hated that. Couldn't believe I was working for the man again. What really got me upset was I had to ask for permission to go to have a break. And then I started catching myself looking forward to the weekends, and I knew I was in the wrong place at that time. And I decided to quit and pursue full-time real estate. And that's when I jumped all in. And that's where the journey actually really started.
I love it. I love it. So that's a great background. Tell us what your why is. I know you're a why guy. Tell us what your why is.
Yeah. So I do believe that at different places in your career, your why can shift. My first why that got me off the ground, that had me busting my butt every single day, that had me investing all my time, all my energy, all my resources into real estate, was my mom. So she single mother, raised my sister and I, she's so strong. She's still alive, thank God, and she actually lives with me now. She watches our kids while I'm away at work, so it's beautiful that what we have. But when I was growing up, I never really appreciated what she did, and I never appreciated how hard she worked. She had 2-3 jobs. I took everything for granted. Everything I wanted, she said yes to. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment up until I was like about high school, so it was kind of embarrassing. Could never have friends over because like, oh, where's your room kind of thing. But she really busted her butt to make sure she got us out of the area we were in. So when I got old enough and I finally realized that, which I thank God I realized it, because for a long time I was taking everything for granted and I actually resented her for her behavior, but that was just all me being selfless. So I harbored onto that emotion, and I remember what she went through, and I was grateful to God enough to say, man, thank you for still keeping her around. So now that I'm in a position to where I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm ambitious, I have all this energy, let me go ahead and just give my all in to this business. My biggest why at that time was to make sure while she was still around on earth, I wanted to find a way to repay her and then make her life better, because she ended up giving up 20 years of her life as a single mom just to raise my sister and I. And that's a huge sacrifice. I look at my life right now and what she did, I don't even know if I have the courage to do it today. You're talking about giving up my passion for speaking, giving my passion for social media, giving my passion for real estate, and just saying, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing just to make sure I can provide for my son and my daughter, which is what she did at the time. And she gave up everything, her dating life, her social life. And that's important to us in our 20s. And she gave all that up for us. So I looked at that, took appreciation to it. And when I first got started in the real estate business, I kept that vision in my mind. And I said, I'm going to make her proud while she's still here. I'm going to make sure I take care of all her bills while she's still here. I'm going to buy her a house while she's still here. I'm going to do all that, take care of her first, and then put myself second. So as of last year, I was finally able to do that after 6 years in the business. All her debt was paid for. I bought her a home. Actually, I bought a home that I signed it over to her. So she now has the house. So the house that we bought in Bonita, my wife and I, 2 years ago, we actually gifted it to her. She has no debt. It's such a beautiful thing, man. So that was my why for my first 5.5 years in the business that drove me. And now in this time of my life, my business, my why for myself now is it's a selfish reason, but it's a selfish reason that pours into other people. So I'm okay to say it's a selfish reason, but it's to make sure that I explore my greatest potential. I never want to leave any chips on the table. I don't want to go to sleep at night any day. I don't want to wake up one day on my deathbed and think to myself, what if? I know we have one shot at this thing called life, and I want to take full advantage of it. So I know if I become my best version of me, then when my cup is full, I'm going to be able to give back to other people from abundance, and everyone else is going to win too. So that was the first and the second why in the business.
Man, I love it. I love your passion, and your whys are amazing. And I can't, that's just very, makes me a little emotional to hear what you're doing, what you did for your mom. And you and I come from, we've talked about this before, very similar backgrounds, raised by a single mom, had 2 brothers, and she worked 50, 60, 70 hours a week. She was she owned a hair salon, and she was always at work. She'd come home, tired as can be. And, as a kid, you appreciate it, but at the same time, you really truly don't understand it. And now to be in a position to be able to do what you're doing for her, I'm sure she's just got to be proud, as proud can be of you. And so that's good. Thanks for sharing that. Now, in 2014, 3 sales, 2015, you go out and get a job. Oh, that's the worst. Nobody wants a job. So what clicked in 2016 for you? What was the catalyst to kind of get things going? And when did you know that social media was your calling card to really blow up your business? Because that's what you were doing mainly. You weren't doing a lot of extra stuff. You were doing a lot of social media in the beginning, correct?
So yes and no. Before I got into real estate with the multi-level marketing business, that's what really opened my eyes to social media. So if you want to go to my Instagram and scroll all the way back, or my Facebook and scroll all the way back to 2011, 2012, 2013, you'll see how I was utilizing social media back then. And it's the same thing that I'm doing now. It's just a different medium. But I took what I learned in multi-level marketing, and then I applied it into real estate. But when I first got started in 2015, so I quit my job in May of 2015. I went all into real estate. I had 3 months worth of savings. I poured everything into the business. I just said, I'm either going to make it or I'm going to make it. And that's it. There's no other option. There was no plan B. So check this out, Bobby. It's crazy, man. In 2015, from May through December, I dabbled in social media with real estate. But the problem was when I was in multi-level marketing, I had clients to say, here's their before photo, here's the after photo of taking my product, and this is their transformation. But when I got first started in real estate, I didn't have any clients to promote. I didn't have any listings to promote. So I actually couldn't use social media, and that was a crutch, and that hurt. So I had to actually go out there and I had to go hunt. Mm-hmm. So I went and I door knocked, I cold called, I held open houses 3 days a week minimum. It was religious. I still have access to my calendar from back then. In my calendar, I work hard, but I don't know if I work that hard how I used to back then. It's a different kind of hard. But
now you work smart. And that's okay. You're still working as hard as you ever did, but now you're working a lot smarter. You have a business plan that you're executing. And when you do that, and when you have a team to help you grow, that's when you get that leverage in your business, and things go to that next level. So 2016, how many deals approximately did you end up doing that year?
I believe it was 14, 12 to somewhere between 12 and 16.
Okay, so now you're really starting to get in. A lot of those were from the hustle, the door knocking, open houses, but then you were leveraging that business into the social, I would imagine, right?
There you go. So 2015, I planted all the seeds. I think I closed like 2 or 3 deals in 2015. And then all the seeds that I planted in 2015, I harvested those in 2016, and the majority of those were listings. And so my actual first full year in the business, it was listings, and that was all through door knocking, building relationships with people at the door. And And then
for the new agents out there, he's using listings as leverage. Okay, that's why you always hear coaches talk about listings and how important they are. Not that buyers aren't important, because buyers need homes and those are quick sales, but listing leverage is so critical. And then you can market that property everywhere on different platforms. You know, it's kind of hard to market a buyer, right? You can't go on social media and do that much on there. Although we'll talk about some of the things that you do for your buyers that I love and how you incorporate in social media. I mean, I watch all of it. I may not like and comment on every single one of them, but I've seen all of it, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. So 2017 rolls around. Now you got that momentum going. When did you bring on your first team member?
First team member was actually in late 2017.
Okay.
So it was my first buyer's agent, or first agent period. And I just did it because I'd really, well, one, he wanted to be a part of what I was doing. My success at that time was growing. I think I went from that first year of 12 to 16 transactions. I think the second year I did like 20 or 24. So the speed was really picking up for me at that time. So he wanted to join. I brought him on board. I was teaching him everything I was doing. He was latching on quickly. Then I saw that it was working with him. And then early 2018, I ended up bringing on assistants. And then the first quarter or second quarter of 2018, I ended up bringing on 2 more agents. So by Q1 of 2018, I had 3 agents and 1 assistant at that time.
I love it. I love it. So now you're building a business. Now you're building the leverage. You've got the listings, which means now these agents can do the open houses, and you're teaching them how to pull business from that, you know, which is amazing. I love it. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about platforms. What's your favorite platform? And wait, before you answer that question, just so everybody knows, I've got somebody taking notes here. So you don't need to really take a ton of notes. All these notes are going to be shared with you towards the end of this meeting, including Gabe's social media. So you guys can all follow Gabe on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, all of it. You know, he's killing it on all of it. And so what's your favorite platform out of all of them?
Favorite platform when I first started was Facebook. That was my favorite. And then, so that was like 2015, 16, 17, and 18, my favorite, even before that. So up to about 2018, Facebook was number 1. About 2018, I started going really hard on Instagram. And then I also simultaneously started building YouTube. Okay. So while Facebook was feeding me all of my business by that time, I was growing Instagram and growing YouTube. YouTube was extremely helpful with growing my Instagram because I would take all my content from YouTube, I'd repurpose it onto Instagram or put little teasers like a trailer to a movie. I would do that on Instagram and then redirect everyone back over to YouTube. And then I'd take everyone from YouTube and redirect them back over to Instagram. And my Facebook had grown organically over the years. So that audience was a separate audience. These two were a different audience. And then around end of 2018, beginning of 2019 is when Instagram really started taking off for me. And then YouTube took off for me huge in 2019. We had a few viral videos. My biggest one was our engagement video with my wife and I. When I proposed to her, that video ended up having close to like 9 million views right now worldwide. It ended up taking off. It was a big video for us, 2019. You know, that's a lot of views for then. And that took off.
You're one romantic mother. I love it.
Hey, Bobby, you and me have that in common. Hey, you and me have that in common, man.
Yes, sir.
We love our women. So that was it, man. So now in this day and age, right now, it's Instagram.
Okay, so Instagram, and do you source all of your deals, and what percentage would you say your deals are coming from social media compared to other mediums? Yeah, so we sourced our business for 2021. We did 100 sites last year, and 70 of those sites came from social media: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Are you serious? Yeah. 70%? Oh, man. Guys, I mean, think about that. Especially for the people out there who've been just working their sphere only. I mean, man, that is tremendous. I mean, if you incorporate social media into your game plan and do it at a high level, you can double and triple your business overnight by doing that. What would you say, let me put it this way. What were the mistakes you made early on that you wish you could go back and change now? Were there any mistakes?
I feel like I played everything pretty perfect up to this
Okay.
point. When I look back at it, a lot of it was accidental, and a lot of it, well, I'd say about 50% of it was growing, learning in the moment, and the other 50% was taking what I learned from multi-level marketing. And then as I started to take what I knew, and as I was becoming, I would also then seek mentorship, seek coaching. So I also attended a lot of traffic and conversion, social media examiner. I paid Billy Jean his marketing a lot of money. That guy is the GOAT, in my opinion, of marketing. Paid him. So I actually took my real estate hat off and I put a marketer hat on first. And I started looking at myself as a marketer first, not a real estate agent. And I think that a lot of agents, we get lost and we're like, we think ourselves as a real estate agent, but truly, I believe, my personal opinion is that we are a marketing company first. And no matter how you want to slice it, I mean, look, if you're a traditional agent who gets their business from sphere of influence, door knocking, cold calling, what are you doing at the root of that? You're marketing yourself. You're sending postcards. You're knocking on doors. You're making phone calls. All of that just to say to the consumer, I'm here. This is who I am, and this is what I do. So your marketing essentially is what you're doing. And so we got to take the hat off. And that's what I started doing at first. So I took what I knew, plus I seek mentorship. And then I started growing all of it. And, there's no really big regrets. There's just possibly, no, Bobby, I couldn't even tell you there was regret, man. I actually think I played everything out. I got pretty blessed along the way.
Well, that's why I was asking, because I can't really find a lot of stuff. Like when I look through your feed, I see a lot of positivity. I see someone who cares about their clients, somebody who's making a big deal about not so much you. I mean, you've got the swagger for sure, but you're always propping up your people, your team. I see you propping up your clients and telling their story, not just, hey, I sold this house and it was 100,000 over ask. You're telling their story. You're tapping into their whys, why they chose you, why they decided to move. You make a big deal about the closings on Facebook and on Instagram. Tell us a little about like what made you start doing that, and how the hell do you work it into your schedule to make every single closing a big deal? I mean, it sure looks like you're making every single closing a big deal, and I think that's awesome. And if I was a friend of yours, I'd be like, I want to use him because he's really elevating how he treats people. But tell us a little bit about what you do at closing.
Yeah. So this is really important to everyone. There was a stat that came out in 2017 or 2018 from the National Association of Realtors. I received an email at the end of the year, and I looked at it, or at the beginning of the year, I don't know which one it was, but 2017, 2018. And it stated that when they surveyed all people who purchased their first home, who took the survey in 2017, 2018, they found out that the people who purchased their first home that year had a better experience at a $50 restaurant than they did buying their first home. And when I read that, I thought to myself, damn, that shit's horrible. I can't believe that one of the biggest, most emotional, biggest investments in someone's life, where they're going to grow their family, where they're going to cry, where they're going to live, where they're going to have all these different moments and experiences, have friends and family over, have a lot of pride in their furniture. They had a better experience getting at a $50 Chili's restaurant than they did actually getting that home. And in my head, my mind blew. I just thought to myself, that's horrible. So I wanted to make it extra special when I found that out. And I decided, you know what? I want to start celebrating these victories. So back in 2017, that's what I started doing. I started celebrating the victories, their victory, not my victory. I was just the vessel that they used, and I was just grateful to be a part of it, but they're the hero of the story. Yeah. And, I want to touch on that for a quick second without going too deep into a rabbit hole. This real estate business, let's all be honest, it's a very egotistical driven business, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. That ego is good because that's what drives you to do it. The difference is, can you keep the ego in check? When it comes to saying, I did everything or we did everything, I did this or they did this. And we have to be very careful with that. And I learned that very early on, that I didn't want to be viewed that way. Although I do have this desire and this need to accomplish and to build and to grow and for recognition, right? Babies cry for it, grown men die for it, recognition. That's all true, but we have to put that in check. And so I thank God, I had a mentor who said, keep that in check. And I was dumb enough to listen, and I did, that I started using them as the story. So I started promoting my clients. I started documenting their journey. And at the very end, we would celebrate their home purchase. I would have music on the inside of the home. I would have balloons just all throughout the house. I would have a bottle of champagne. I would have movie tickets. I would have gift cards. I still do this, gift cards to restaurants. At the very beginning, when a client onboards with us, we have what's called an all about you form. I find out their favorite restaurants, their favorite this. So we actually have gift cards to the restaurant, and I give them an experience after the experience. So I tell them, hey, there's been during this roller coaster, there's a lot of ups and downs. You guys did it. This is a little gift on me, a bottle of champagne. It's a simple gift. You can buy my Costco in bulk. Everyone loves champagne to celebrate. That's the celebratory drink. Yeah. And then after that, I give them however many, if there's 5 kids, whatever it is, that many movie tickets, and then $15 gift cards per person to that restaurant. And that $175 investment, they can go out and have a movie night as a family and an experience and say, thanks to my agent for buying me this home. Let's go have a night off and relax as a family. I covered their meal, I covered the night. So we celebrate the win, and then we document it, which is the most important part. We capture it on video, we capture it on photo. And of course, you get their approval in the very beginning of all of this. And at the very end, you set it up, you have your camera crew, they come in, and then I tell the camera crew, this is the shots that I'm looking for. This is the story that I want. And they should know this already if they're a skilled storytelling camera crew. And then we have the photo. I take it afterwards. I promote it on my social media platforms so that my audience can see what we did. The same way all of you traditional agents take a postcard and say, just listed, just sold. I'm doing the same thing, just on social media.
Yeah. And for the most part, it's free with the exception of the video cost. What do you, yearly, what are you spending on video editing and putting videos together? It's got to be a pretty decent chunk.
Yeah, so I think it's only fair to answer that question if I talk about how it was in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. So when I first started, I used my cell phone just like everyone else, and I think now it's more okay to use your cell phone than it was before, because that's just the way to do it now. I think the more polished content doesn't perform as well as more of the stuff from your cell phone, and that's just the truth. So if you have an iPhone 13, plus whatever the new one is, and you can go to 24, this is what I used to film on my phone. It's 24 frames per second at a 4K resolution. So 4K resolution, 24 frames per second. The highest I will go is 30 frames per second on a 4K resolution. And you want to film, I like to film in a 0.5 wide lens. So the fish lens is what I film. And it looks really good because why 24 frames per second? Because that's what your eye sees. Your natural eye sees at 24 frames per second. So that's the reason I use that. But I started off for free, my own stuff. I edited, I found out how to use my MacBook. My gosh, Bobby, dude, how many people do we know that drive like Lambos and like Porsches, bro, and they don't know how to push, how to redline and drive it to the fullest potential, right? Like, dude, it comes down to the user. Like, we have all the tools. You just got to learn how to use it, man. If you put me behind a Lambo, I'm not going to be able to know how to maximize it. I'll maximize my BMW, but not a Lambo. But you put a race car driver behind my BMW, dude, they'd crush it. So just use your tools, man. And then now what I do on my video content per month, on my video crew per year, I'm probably investing about 50 to 60K per year. And then on the advertising side on social media, I'm probably investing close to 60K per year as well.
Okay. So are you running a lot of sponsored ads as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, other than Instagram, what are the must platforms that every real estate agent should be on? What do you think the must? Obviously, you got Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Yeah. Any other ones that you love?
TikTok, you got to be on it, man. I have a really good audience already. My audience is deep. I dug a really deep well with them, so my veins run deep with my audience. If I felt like I needed to be on TikTok more, I would, which I am, but I'm on it for my family purposes. We have like pranks and things that we do, but not for real estate. But yeah, I think that if you're looking to build an audience, you need to go to TikTok first, because the way their algorithms are set up, it's an open, my gosh, man, it just takes one video to go viral and you can land such an audience. And it just, yeah, you can just, like Cameron saying, it can just skyrocket you to the next level, man. So TikTok's the biggest one.
Yeah, he's been Cameron over here, and we're going to get to you in just a second, Cameron. He's been a big believer in TikTok. He's had some videos, some reels go, really take off. And, it actually, we talked about this a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I'm going into TikTok, and I'm like, I'm in, I'm going to do it. I set it up a long time ago and I just did nothing with it. I'm kind of old school. I've always just been into Facebook. An old assistant of mine in 2007 set up my Facebook account, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Wasn't into it at all at first, and then I realized the opportunity to connect with people, and that's what we do as an industry. We're connectors. We have to be the guy or girl who is connecting people together as a community, and those are the people that become the mayor, the go-to for real estate. And so it's super, super important.
I think I saw one of your videos on TikTok. I was scrolling. I think I think you have a few videos now, don't you?
I've got a few. I'm working on a few more. So we're going to get there eventually. So other than any other platforms, you doing Pinterest or any like LinkedIn? You doing anything like that?
No. I think that if my demographic was on LinkedIn, then I would go there. And I think that I would build. And I would. You can build on any platform that you decide to commit to. But my audience is on Facebook. My audience is on Instagram, and they're on TikTok too. But my relationships are deeply established on both those platforms. So I just continue to go deep with the 150,000 followers that I have between the both.
Okay. So subscribers on YouTube, how many you at?
On YouTube, our family channel's at 74,000 subscribers.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you have a family channel? Do you have a business channel on YouTube as well, or just
we have one where we just dump all of our content on there, all of our everything that's on there. And if it gets found, it gets found. We're not really focused on growing it, but it's there just for SEO purposes.
Got it. And then Instagram, how many followers you got?
Instagram, I have 141,000.
That's a lot of free advertising, man. I love it. All right, so a couple questions from some of our audience. When you decided to jump all in after having a tough go at it in 2014 and 2015, now you come back in 2016. You did 14 transactions. What was the difference maker? What was the thing that clicked inside of you that you really did differently? Was it, did you burn the boats? Did you make it so where you were 100% all in? What was the main factor that made it different?
It felt like a loaded question. Can you just summarize it for me? Sorry about that.
So what was the difference maker in 2016 in your psyche? What were you doing differently than you did in 2014 or 2015?
Oh wow. Okay, really good question.
Because I mean, you went from 3-0 to 14. That's pretty big. So what was the main difference?
Mindset.
Okay.
Hands down, man. Mindset. You're gonna battle, man. I tell my friends, my teammates, I tell my team members, I tell my colleagues, everything the same thing. Bobby, you have a password on your cell phone, right? Okay. And you have a password on your laptop. And I'm sure you guys lock the door when you leave your home. And I'm sure when you get out of your car, you lock the car, right? So you are essentially protecting your assets. You're protecting your belongings. And what drives me insane, bro, is that us as human beings, we don't protect the single most important asset in our entire life, which is the 6 inches in between here. We don't put a password protection. We don't put a filter on it. We listen to whatever we want to listen to. We watch whatever we want to watch. We let people brain dump on us. We let people gossip with us. We put horrible things in our body, and we damage the one single most important thing that we should be protecting the most. But we put everything else above that. You should have the most strongest filter password on here. No one should have access to this. And the only things that come in here are the things that you allow to come in here. You do that for your phone. So why aren't you doing it for your brain? So I had to really shut a lot of things off in 2015 when I went all in. I had to stop listening to certain, it sounds stupid, maybe the truth is I had to stop listening to certain music. I had to stop hanging around with certain friends. I had to stop going to certain places. I had to stop watching certain videos and movies. And I changed all of that. And then I started listening to other things that were feeding the cause, things that were feeding my belief that I could do it, things that were feeding my skill set. And that's what anchored me to the ground and said, I can do this. And even in the moments where I felt, and I was discouraged more than I was encouraged the entire time. But because I had such a strong belief system and I was filtering all the negative stuff out and I was honed in on what I needed to do, nothing would get in my way. I was so relentless because of my mindset. So it was me shifting the script in my head and filtering what I put in, and then just surrounding myself in an environment, surrounding myself with people and conversations that were that. And I had very few people at that time that I can go to. So my environment looked like my lender, my office manager, and one agent who started at the same time. I would get the office at 7 a.m. and he was right there. And we were just pushing each other like Wolf of Wall Street status, like, you ready to fucking go? Let's go. And we were just getting each other amped up and nothing else mattered. I created my own little hype. I created my own little world. And I made people feel like, because I'm in my world, it's so much fun that you're not a part of it. You're not having a good time. I made them feel FOMO versus me looking at their life going out on a Friday, me feeling FOMO. I'm like, I'm at the house writing thank you cards. What are you doing tonight? You know, like things like that. And that really fed me when I needed it the most.
Man, I love it. I love it. This is really gold, Gabe. I know that you are making an impact. There's someone out there listening right now who really needed to hear that, because so much of our problems is what we put into our brain. I have an issue right now myself. I watch too much news. I'm like kind of obsessed with what's going on in the world. I've always been that way. I've been following politics since 1984. It depresses me sometimes, and I know I got to stop doing that. And so good advice there. Really, really, really good advice. One more question, then we're going to shoot over the camera for a few, and then I'm going to wrap up with a few tips of my own. Do you have any tips for growing your Instagram followers?
Yes.
What would you say if someone's at 2,000 and they want to get to 100,000? What's the one or two tips that you would tell them?
So you sent me some questions at the beginning of this to answer, and I wrote some notes down, and I just wanted to give you guys this. I'll just end it with this, I guess. It's a long-worded answer, but I'll try to summarize in like in 2 minutes most. So the traditional way of doing business, door knocking, cold calling, open houses, right? The whole purpose is to get in front of people. And I want to give you guys this analogy, I guess. So all of the traditional sales methods, when you go out and knock on a door, it's equivalent. If you want to grow your social media, you'd grow it the same way that you'd grow your farm. Knocking on a door traditionally is equivalent, in my opinion, to you adding someone on Facebook or following someone on Instagram. That's just saying, knocking on the door like, hi, I'm here, right? Hello. Doesn't mean they open the door. Doesn't mean there's a dialogue happening. It just means, hi, I'm here. So I would add someone on Instagram, follow someone on Instagram, and add someone on Facebook. But even with them, you got to be careful with who you're adding. I only add business owners. I add influencers. I add wedding photographers because wedding photographers love tagging their clients. And then I go add all their clients if they live in San Diego. And because my content's so dope, they want to follow me back. And it's not just all real estate related. So like, oh, this guy has a family, he has kids, he's a person. Because if you're just bombarding me with a bunch of like, dude, if you're just sending me postcards all the time, that's just like a bunch of house, and there's a bunch of postcards of houses, I'm going to filter that stuff out immediately. There's nothing different about it. So when I'm adding these people and they add me back, they see there's something different about me. So number one, adding people is important, but being intentional about who you're adding. Number two, when they open the door and you have a dialogue with them, is equivalent, in my opinion, to commenting on their post or engaging in their direct messages with them. That's having a dialogue with that person. And then lastly, and then the posts that you're making on social media. So once they've added you back and they're following you, once you've established that relationship with the person at the door, hey, is it okay if I follow up with you? May I keep you posted on what's happening with the sale? I'm going to follow back with you, let you know what we got into escrow for, is equivalent to, in my opinion, you posting on social media, just listed, just sold, in escrow, because now you're advertising it directly in front of them. They're seeing your stuff. They already self-enrolled on your page, said, I want to follow you. And now they're seeing all those things also. So now they're getting to know you, they're getting to like you, they're getting to trust you. And that happens at the door the same exact way. The only difference is it takes you 3 minutes at one door. It takes me 1 minute to get in front of 30,000 people with one post. And I can have access to more people with the same message. Yes, you're a little more direct at the door trying to close them, but my warm approach is building a warmer audience over time, and that's going to feed me greater with less effort over time. And I'll just,
What's nice about what you're building is people are now coming to you, picking up the phone, message, doing DMs, hey, I want to sell my house or buy a house, as opposed to you going out there and knocking on all those doors, spending all that time. So that was great stuff, Gabe. I really appreciate it. Let's move over to Cameron real quick. And obviously Cameron's been a regular contributor on our show and does an amazing job. I love Cameron. He's one of my favorite real estate brokers in the country. I've given him deals. He sends deals my way out here on the West Coast. Everybody's moving from California to Florida, so we need a good guy down there to take care of all the business. But tell us briefly about yourself real quick, Cameron, and then let's dive into TikTok, because Gabe confirmed it. Number one platform that everybody should be kind of focused on is TikTok. Tell us about yourself, and then let's dive into TikTok real quick.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. As you know, Cameron Smith down here in Southwest Florida, working like Naples, Southwest area here. We have a bunch of people fleeing from California down here, Bobby, as you know. Gabe, I want to say, man, that was inspiring. One thing that I really took from you and it inspired me is that you're passionate and you care about the people. And that's something that I preach every week, week in and week out, is you actually care about the person and you put the person first. And when you do that and you make them successful and you get their goals accomplished, you get paid. And that's obviously how it works. So it's great. Quick rundown about me. I've been an agent broker for 13 years. Obviously our group did a little under 200 total transactions last year. Anyways, most of the cool thing I want to talk to you guys about today is TikTok. I started in January, my TikTok and Instagram campaign where I post daily and I post house tours. One thing that I really like, Gabe, is that you've taken a lot of time to build that huge following. And that's, if anyone takes that much time, you will be successful. If you're consistent with any of these platforms, you will be successful. TikTok just allows you to be successful faster because of how the algorithms work, because how it pushes stuff out, and because of the hundreds of millions of daily users, you're able to grow faster. Now, what I have learned in these few months is that we're not building trying to sell a house. We're building entertainment, or we're creating entertainment that people are going to view and enjoy and want to see more of. It's not all about the 3-bedroom, 2-bed house that's 1,800 square feet that's on a corner. They don't care. They want something that they can watch for 35 seconds, at least on TikTok. I know YouTube's a little different, but TikTok, 30 seconds, fast, fun, good music. They can jive with it and they're on to the next one. But before they do, they follow you, they like you, and that puts you out to another 500 people. So, remember, you're creating entertainment for engagement. It isn't trying to sell specific houses. A lot of the time, the houses that I post are already pending because I'm posting them 2 days later and they're already pending. But you're posting them to bring buyers in. I am getting between 3 and 5 live phone calls a day from TikTok right now. It's incredible. So definitely, everyone needs to get on it. I want to go through a couple of things with you, Gabe. I already said you did it out of passion. The job in 2016 motivated you. And I think a lot of us have been there, especially like you said, your mom has motivated you. I know my mother has imprinted the care and the passion and putting the client first. And that's really important. Bobby, I know it's the same for you. The client is always number one. My mom has really made that important for me, and it shows. And it's something that the funniest quote I get all the time is, "You remind me of my son." And it's like, that makes me happy. If I can get that quote from every single client of mine, I love it. Sharing your successes is huge. Again, I started that here about 4 years ago. I used to never post success on Facebook because I thought it was bragging. I had a complex that I didn't want my personal friends to think I was bragging that I was making all this money. A few years ago, I made a post and said, "Do you guys care? What do you think?" And they all said, "No, show us." I have posted every single walkthrough, closing, everything. And now what I've learned is that the people that care don't matter, and the people that matter don't care. The people that, really matter love to see it. They want to see your success. They want to buy into it. And that's really all they know about you is your success, versus the people that you think care that don't matter. They know you from your high school days or your personal problems that they judge you on versus your business, and they're not going to buy with you anyway. So you're targeting who your clientele is. Don't worry about people that don't matter. That, Bobby, that we've talked about that a bunch about the news. Like, it's there's nothing we can do. We got to know what's going on, but not let us get us into our brain of negativity, because as soon as you become negative, you don't want to prospect. You don't want to be positive with your clients. When there is a problem that pops up, what is it? Oh God, I don't want to answer this phone. This is, oh man. But when you're positive and you're, show me the money. I'm the man. Show me. I do that with my team all the time. One of my kids, when he first recruited, he was like 17. He was just super uncommon to come out of high school. I brought him in, and literally I would have him do affirmations every morning in front of the mirror saying, I'm the man, I'm the man, and just for like 2 minutes. In 1 year, his whole life changed from like a little shrimp kid in high school to being a confident guy over positive affirmations, that kind of thing. Your mindset is always key. Anyways, let's get into TikTok. So TikTok, super cool. One thing you guys all need to get, this is a stabilizer. It's a gimbal for your phone. How it works is you put your phone in it and it just keeps it steady. So when you're walking around, you're not doing this. This is called a DJI OM5. They're $150 on Amazon. DJI OM5. They're great. Consistent posts are the key to the algorithms on Instagram and Facebook. We're only doing reels right now, or TikTok only does reels. That's all they do is post a talk or TikTok, whatever they call them. But that's all you can do on TikTok. What I do is I actually use TikTok as my editing for the songs and for the text, and then I just directly bring that over to Instagram. So I'm always copying them, which is one reason I really love kind of how I'm doing it. Rather than having to take, Gabe, I love what you're doing, but you're paying a team to do it, which costs money and time. You take a preview, you put it on your Instagram, that sends them to a YouTube. That's another, video that's done completely differently. I'm trying to streamline it. So I have the videos all done at one time. The total editing time is about 15 minutes per video. And you can reuse the videos because, again, you're creating entertainment. So once you get 45, 50, 60 homes under your belt, you can go back a month or two, post that same video at the same price. Yes, it's already sold, but no one knows that. No one cares because you're building entertainment. When they then call you, that's when you go, oh, yep, sorry, that one's pending, but look what I got here. Let me show you, get your, and then you do the lead capture, and then you start helping them. Because until when they're still on social media, they're not a client. They're just a impression, which is great. That's the amazing thing with TikTok and Instagram is you can get 1 million impressions in a week for free. And that's something that we all need to start getting on. The 24 FPS thing, Gabe, I love that. I know that you're spending money on your equipment, which is why you're able to do cinematic quality stuff. I will say that I have found on the iPhone, if you use 60 FPS, you're able to slow your video down and speed it up better. And the quality and the overall video, the how it ends up is comparable. Because when I'm doing walkthroughs through homes, as you guys know, I do a lot of, let me pull one up real quick, but I do a lot of walkthrough through homes. Sometimes you speed past things too fast and you need to slow it down. Well, having the extra frames per second allow you to do that. But like Gabe says, if you want the most cinematography looking video movie, 24 frames is the way to go because it flows better and it looks better. But yeah, I prefer 60 frames per second. Let me see what else I got here for you guys. Just like you, Gabe, I had a social media manager. She's actually the social media manager for Ferrari, and she's helped me out tremendously. I would never be able to get here without her. But like you also said, you a lot of trial and error. As you get into this, you're 30 days in, you've made 30 posts, you've edited 30 videos. You guys are going to try stuff. You're going to say, well, let's try a 25-second video. Let's try a 45-second video. Let's try the same video 3 times in a day, split test. And as you guys do that, you'll find some things work, some things don't work. Some things work one time, but they don't work second time. And again, you're always just trying to compete with this algorithm that, TikTok has or Instagram has. But like you're saying, Gabe, when one ticks off, I had one that hit 1.1 million in a week, and that's just fantastic. That's just unheard of. Unless like you have a great following that every time you post a video, you get, 10,000 views instantly and 400 likes. And that helps you out because it's all about engagement. When you create your entertainment, you got to remember that the goal is to get people engaged. You want them to hate it. Really. That's really the truth is that the more people say, I don't like it, the more views you're going to get and the more people you are going to get that like it. Hate, as we all know, hate is the strongest feeling. It's what propels people to do things. It's kind of sad because you'll post really beautiful houses and people will be rude about them. But you'll also have, 15,000 likes and you'll have 400 rude comments. It's like, okay, well, you got to balance out what life is. My recommendations for everyone, if you are going to really do this, is not use the app. Don't reply to comments initially because they'll just make you depressed. At least they did me. I tried to argue with everyone, and that's not what people want. You don't want to argue with them. You want them to engage. You want people to argue for you. And those have been my most successful videos, where people say, I don't like this, and someone says, I do like that. And then this guy says, oh, I wish it was this way. And it just goes off into this conversation, but you have to build stuff that people want to talk about. Add, remove. One of the things that I've done a lot, Gabe, and I want to kind of hear your suggestion for my Instagram, because I started with 0 followers in January. I'm up to almost 1,000 now. Is I was adding and removing people from groups like our governor, right? Our governor. Obviously, people are interested. Now, one thing, I only added people that had photos and had real names. So I was adding, like, say, 100 people a day, kind of scanning through there. It took about 35 minutes. And then in 3 or 4 days, if they followed me back, great. I would then remove them and keep going from there. That helped me out tremendously, getting 1,000 views a video, 500 comment, or 500 likes, and kind of getting it going. What do you recommend to kind of get started? Because I know that's the most important most people want to know.
Yeah. I love everything about that you said about TikTok, and I agree with the 60 frames per second. Also, after you're done editing it and you publish it, it looks better. But back to the question about the Instagram, what I would do is I would just follow everyone until you max out at 7,500 followers, because you're going to hit like a little roadblock there, and your account's going to start getting frozen and like blocked. But I would just continue adding everyone, even if they don't follow you back. There's a lot of what I learned over the years is not everyone's on Instagram all the time. And sometimes they're not following you back intentionally. It's just that they just haven't seen it. They haven't logged in, and you have to just remain consistent with it. So I would just continue adding as many people as you want, as you can possibly until you start receiving the engagement, the amount of business that you want. And then it's weird, man. There's this guy that told me, like, it sounds really superficial, but it's true, right? There's a ratio that you have to have of followers to following. And I didn't believe it at first. At first I was like 10,000 followers and then 7,500 following, or I was following 7,500 people. And then when people would come to my page, they wouldn't want to follow me just because of the fact, like, this guy's just following everyone. It doesn't look good. He's not an influencer in what he's doing. There's no reason for me to stay here. So when I crossed that 10,000 mark of followers, see, exactly. There you go. That man, that was golden. So you guys didn't catch that? His TikTok, there's 0. And there's a level of influence to that. Yep, he knows it. You know the game, dude. I love that. We got to connect afterwards, Cameron, but that's the game. There's a level of influence that comes with it. So I immediately, once I crossed that 10,000 mark, started unfollowing all my people, and I brought it down to like 100. So now when people were coming to my page, it was 100 people who I were following, and the 100 people that I were following were my clients. And they felt so cool. They felt so special. They were like, oh my gosh, like, my agent's so dope. He's posting these cool videos. He's only following me. And like, they felt so special at that time. And I started increasing, growing. And then once people started looking at my page, like, well, this guy's an influencer, let me follow him. And that just continued to grow at that point. Now I think I'm at 141 and 1,000 because my mission's a little different on social media. I probably should get it back under 1,000, but it's where it's at right now. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
I love it. That's exactly what I wanted you to say for everyone to hear you, because you have 140,000 people following. So that's great. You're right. You got to be cool. Again, we're creating entertainment. No one is entertained by someone that isn't cool. Not following anybody, as dumb as it sounds, on your business account is cool. I don't know why. Same with the blue check mark. We can't get blue check marks yet because we don't make enough money. But once you become verified, meaning you're a celebrity, then also that's cool. Any tips for content on TikTok? Yes, whatever you watch and whatever draws you in for a full 30 seconds, you should make. So if you like things like 3 tips to buy a house, right? Don't buy a car, don't do this, and you're comfortable doing it in front of it, do those. If you're like me and I want it all to be about content and real estate, I'm doing house tours. Now I'm going to change that as my following grows, because I want to do more like what Gabe is doing and become more on the personal side. But I got to grow that following fast. And what I'm growing, and it's working for me, is not putting my face, not being a guy. It's look at houses, look at these gorgeous houses. the gorgeous houses, that's key. You have to have pretty houses. If you're not, no one's going to watch them. And it's clear by my testing, ugly houses people don't watch them. So, there's a game behind it. And that's what we're here for, guys, is all of us. If you need questions, call us, reach out to us, text us. We're all here to help. That's our whole thing. That's what's so cool about this group is we're a full open book. One thing I really, really wanted to say before we go, let me make sure what makes you happy. Obviously for me, it's been success, sharing success, doing something and it working. That makes me happy. The money doesn't make me happy, but doing something for my clients and it working and getting that confirmation back, them saying, thank you, you really helped. That makes me do this. And I love that you're posting the successes at the closing. I haven't done that yet, just because most of my clients aren't from here. They're out of town. What's my Insta? It's my Instagram is living in SW, Florida, and my TikTok is the Smith Group.
Awesome. Guys,
one more thing.
Okay.
I know, Bobby, you want to go in it. The biggest thing that you can use all of these platforms for is listings. So when you go out to a listing presentation, and this is what I do now, this is how I got all my listings in the last month. You go out there and they say, what do you do differently? You say, well, I can get the most viewership. And they go, yeah, everyone says that. And they go, no, let me show you. And you literally just pull up your phone, you show the analytics, and you have 2 million views in the last 30 days. And they go, hold on. They go, well, how is that real? Like 1.2 million views, do it. And they go, oh my God, this is amazing. And you go, okay, sign right here. I can do that for your home. Now they don't know you're not going to get 1.2 million views on their home, but the goal is to be something different, stand out. And they just sign, and it's the easiest listing presentation you've ever been on. So it's another great tip.
I love it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate both of you. I'm gonna, I've got some notes, and I'm gonna drop on all my notes and the notes of this call into the chat. Tyler just dropped in a bunch of, all of our previous stuff. We'll include this one as well. But I just want to fill a couple of gaps. So when you're doing social media, first and foremost, you got to know what your brand is, what your unique selling proposition is. You can't just be another realtor out there. There's 20,000 realtors across the country. So you do need to create your own brand, what makes you special, and then kind of grow off of that. I believe reviews are very important when you are doing social media. The reason why reviews are important is someone's going to pick you off of what they see on social media. More than likely, they're going to do some research on you. They're going to go check you out on Yelp and all these other different platforms. They're going to see what kind of online game you have. So look at the internet and look at all these websites as kind of a chance for you to build your resume. And you want every single platform to really show your successes, testimonials. So for example, on testimonials, if you're building testimonials on Yelp, have all of those transferred into like a nice little graphic frame, then take all of that and put it on your website, put it into albums on your Instagram, into your Facebook. All of that stuff really matters. People are checking you out at all hours of the night, even if you don't think you know it. 4 big sites: Yelp, Google, Zillow, Facebook. If you're doing ads, you definitely want to have some Facebook reviews. That's very, very important. Understanding the different platforms and what people are on those platforms for is important. TikTok, everybody's on there to have fun, so you need to bring fun. Don't be all serious and try to do the things that you would do on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more professional. You're building your professional base, your connections with other professionals. Facebook, I believe Facebook is a way for you to tell your story over time. Okay, so you're building your brand on Facebook for years. It takes one bad post to damage you forever. I've seen many agents get political or do stupid stuff on Facebook, and the next thing you know, they're not getting the love that they used to. So, and as we talked about earlier, about creating the wins for your clients, your team. Don't make it all about you. Don't be bragging all the time like I did this, I did that. No one likes a narcissist. All you're gonna do is create people who just don't like you. And so for that reason, it doesn't make any sense. So, all right, we are at 10:01 here. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'll drop this into the link right now. I want to thank Gabe, and I want to thank you, Cameron as well. This was a lot of fun. I'm sure there was a lot of inspired people out there today. If if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Hey, Gabe, would you put your cell phone number in the chat for everybody in case anybody wants to reach out to you and say hello, and maybe someone's got a referral for you. Who knows? Cameron, throw your cell in there as well. Anybody can get a hold of me. Just Google my name, Bobby Martins. All my info is online. All right. Thank you, Gabe. All right, everybody. Next week, we will be here again. We have not selected what we're going to talk about just yet, but we will send out an email probably on Monday of next week, Monday or Tuesday of next week. We do these every Thursday. It's brand agnostic. Anybody can come from any brand. We want to raise the level of real estate production and how we do real estate. Why? So that maybe our kids could sell real estate someday, because this is a job that is, a lot of people want to get rid of it. Technology wants our commissions. They want a piece of that. And the only way to beat technology is through relationships. And that's what social media brings to the table. And you also got to deliver amazing service. You got to go above and beyond. That's what's going to propel your business more than anything. If anybody wants to read a real short book on customer service, I highly recommend Raving Fans. It'll take you about 38 seconds to read that book. It's a big print. It's like 70 pages. So it'll teach you everything you need to know about delivering customer service. So thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate everything. And here's the link. Before you guys go, grab this link. This is from today's notes. The one from up above here that we dropped in here, that is for all of the previous calls that we've done. So thanks a lot, guys. Gabe, you're the man, buddy. Love you. Cameron, take care. See ya.
Thanks, Bobby. Later, Cameron.